How many times do you get up at night to go to the bathroom? 1, 2, maybe 3 or even more. It may seem normal with age, but the truth is that each interruption to your sleep doesn't just steal rest, it also raises the risk of falls, of feeling tired during the day, of slowing your mind, and of keeping your body from recovering the way it should. Many people believe this is inevitable, a natural consequence of getting older. But in most cases, it's tied to how and when you drink water. Yes, something as simple as the way you hydrate can be the difference between a broken night and a deep restorative sleep. Imagine how frustrating it is to want to sleep 8 hours straight and your own body forces you to get up over and over. Every time you turn on the light, shuffle half asleep and crawl back into bed, your brain loses the chance to enter those deep phases of sleep that are essential for memory, the immune system, and the heart. Over time, this becomes a vicious cycle. The worse you sleep, the more tired you are, and the more tired you are, the more your health suffers. What I want to show you today isn't magic tricks or impossible formulas. These are real tips from a urology specialist that explain the right way to drink water so you stay well hydrated without interrupting your sleep. You'll discover recommended times, habits you should change, and myths it's time to leave behind. We'll also look at why some drinks that seem harmless actually make the problem worse, how water temperature can influence your rest, and which signs to watch for because they can point to a more serious medical issue. All explained simply, so that by the end of this video you'll know exactly what to do before going to bed. And before we continue, I want to get to know you better. Tell me in the comments how many years old you are and where you're watching us from. I'll love reading you and discovering which part of the world we're sharing this moment from. Why we get up so much at night. Getting up several times at night to go to the bathroom was something I thought only happened to me. Then, I found out that millions of people deal with it and that it even has a medical name: nocturia. Nocturia is the frequent need to urinate during the night, which interrupts sleep and ends up affecting health. And although it sounds like a technical term, it really describes a very common experience: the discomfort of waking up 1, 2, or more times, walking half asleep, and going back to bed without managing to rest deeply. The question is, why does this happen? There are several reasons, and almost all are related to the natural changes that come with age. When we're young, our kidneys produce less urine at night and more during the day, which lets us sleep through. But as the years pass, this rhythm changes. The kidneys no longer make such a clear distinction and end up producing more urine at night. That means the bladder fills more often and forces us to get up. In men, one of the most common factors is prostate enlargement. From a certain age onward, the prostate tends to grow and presses on the urethra, which causes the bladder to never empty completely. The result is a constant sensation of needing to urinate, even a few hours after having done so. It's not unusual to hear older men say, "I just went to the bathroom and I already have to go again." That's one of the most typical signs. In women, the hormonal changes associated with menopause also play a major role. The decrease in estrogen can weaken the muscles of the bladder and urethra, increasing the urgency to urinate. Added to other issues such as mucosal dryness and loss of elasticity, this makes urinary control harder at night. But it doesn't all come down to age, prostate, or menopause. Other factors matter. Drinking too much water or liquids right before bed is one of the obvious reasons. Many people have the habit of taking a big glass of water with dinner, or even right before sleep, thinking it's healthy. What they don't realize is that this habit can be the direct cause of several nighttime awakenings. Other elements also increase the need to urinate in the early hours: consuming coffee, tea, alcohol, or sugary drinks late in the day, certain medications that act as diuretics, or illnesses such as diabetes and heart failure, which change how the body manages fluids. To make it clearer, I'll tell you 2 real examples. Charles is 78 years old and has been waking up between 3 and 4 times every night for several years. At first, he thought it was normal for his age, but after talking to his doctor, he discovered the cause was an enlarged prostate. He's now in treatment, and although he still gets up sometimes, the frequency has gone down. On the other hand, Helen is 72 years old And since menopause, she began to experience more urinary urgency, especially at night. For a while, she thought it was due to the amount of water she drank with dinner. And she was partly right. Adjusting her hydration and changing certain habits helped her greatly reduce her nighttime awakenings. These stories show that nocturia is not an inevitable sentence of age, but a symptom with multiple causes that can improve with simple changes. The problem is that many resign themselves and believe getting up at night is simply part of life after 60. The truth is, it doesn't have to be that way. The dangers of interrupting sleep. When we think about waking up 1 or 2 times at night to go to the bathroom, we usually see it as a minor nuisance, something that interrupts rest but has no bigger consequence. However, science has shown that these frequent interruptions have a deep impact on physical and mental health, especially in people over 60 years old. Sleep isn't just closing your eyes. At night, the brain and body go through several stages that serve essential functions. Deep sleep, for example, is what allows tissue repair, strengthens memory, and reinforces the immune system. When a person gets up constantly, they never fully reach that restorative phase. The result is shallow, incomplete sleep that fails to restore the day's energy. The consequences are visible in daily life. Memory becomes more fragile. It's harder to recall details, focus on a conversation, or learn something new. Energy drops. The person feels tired from the morning, heavy in the body, and unmotivated to do things. The immune system weakens, increasing the risk of colds and other illnesses. And emotionally, irritability, sadness, and the sense that each day is harder tend to appear. To understand it better, imagine someone who in a single night gets up 4 times. Each time they wake, they turn on the light, walk to the bathroom, return to bed, and try to fall asleep again. What their brain experiences is similar to a night of sleep broken into short naps. The next day, that person has slept hours but hasn't truly rested. And that lack of rest, repeated night after night, accumulates an invisible fatigue that shows up throughout the body. Beyond these internal effects, there's a very serious risk that's often overlooked: nighttime falls. An older person who gets up half asleep in a dim room with slower reflexes faces a much higher risk of tripping or slipping. A night fall can end in hip fractures, head injuries, or wounds that change life forever. It's sad, but these are common accidents that could be avoided by reducing the need to get up so often. I remember the case of Emmanuel, an 81-year-old man who lived alone. One early morning, he got up in a rush because he felt an urgent need. In the dark, he didn't see a loose rug and tripped. The fall fractured his hip and he spent weeks in the hospital. From that moment on, he never fully recovered his mobility. It all started with a simple trip to the bathroom. In women, something similar happens. Carmen, 75 years old, used to drink a lot of water before bed, thinking it was healthy. She got up several times, and on one occasion, while walking drowsily to the bathroom, she lost her balance. She didn't suffer a serious injury, but that scare changed how she viewed the importance of sleep and hydration. These examples show that getting up at night is not a minor inconvenience. It's a problem that wears down the mind, weakens the body, and can cause serious accidents. That's why it's so important to learn how to manage the way we drink water, to protect not only our rest, but also our safety and overall well-being. The role of the kidneys and the bladder. When we talk about why we get up so many times at night, there's an organ that often goes unnoticed: the kidneys. The kidneys are like silent filters that work day and night, cleaning the blood, eliminating waste, and regulating the amount of water and salts circulating in the body. All that work becomes urine, which is then stored in the bladder until it's time to release it. In youth, the kidneys have a surprising capacity to adapt to the day-night rhythm. By day, they produce more urine, and at night they downshift, allowing the bladder to stay emptier longer so we can sleep through. But with age, that mechanism loses precision. The kidneys no longer differentiate as much between day and night and keep working with the same intensity in the early hours. The result is simple. The bladder fills faster and forces a wake-up. The bladder also changes with age. Its walls lose elasticity and can't hold the same amount of urine as before. That means smaller volumes already trigger the urge. In addition, the muscles that control urine outflow can weaken, leading to leakage or an urgent need to get up before an accident happens. Another important detail adds to this: production of a hormone called vasopressin. This hormone helps the body concentrate urine more at night, which reduces the need to go to the bathroom. However, with age, vasopressin levels decrease and urine becomes more abundant and less concentrated. In other words, the bladder receives more fluid precisely when we need to rest. All this sounds inevitable, but there are ways to improve the situation. The timing of when we drink water and the types of liquids we consume have a direct effect on the functioning of the kidneys and bladder. If we concentrate most hydration in the early hours of the day and reduce liquids in the hours before sleep, we help the kidneys work while we're awake and rest while we sleep. A clear example is Anthony, a 79-year-old man who went to the urologist because he was getting up as many as 5 times every night. He was exhausted, his memory was failing, and he'd already had a couple of scares walking drowsily to the bathroom. After an evaluation, the doctor discovered that his problem wasn't a serious disease, but a wrong habit. He drank most of his water after dinner. With a simple adjustment in his hydration schedule, shifting most of it to morning and afternoon, within a few weeks, he went from getting up 5 times to only 1 or 2. The change was so significant that he felt energetic again during the day, and his mood improved. The lesson is clear. Understanding how our kidneys and bladder work gives us the chance to protect our sleep. It's not about drinking less water, but about doing it at the right time, so our body doesn't force us to interrupt the night. Myths about water consumption. For years, we've heard phrases that sound like absolute truths about hydration. One of the most repeated is, you must drink 8 glasses of water a day. This recommendation is echoed in magazines, TV shows, and even doctor's visits, as if it were a universal rule everyone must follow. But there isn't a single exact amount that fits all people. The amount of water each body needs depends on age, weight, physical activity, climate, and, above all, health status. The problem with blindly believing that rule is that many older adults push themselves to meet it even if they don't need to. They think that if they don't reach the famous 8 glasses, they're risking their health. What ends up happening is they drink too much at the wrong times, loading up on fluids right before bed. The result we already know: more nighttime awakenings and broken sleep. Another common myth is that the more water you drink, the healthier you'll be. This isn't true either. Excess water, called overhydration, can upset the blood salt balance and cause serious problems like fatigue, cramps, or even mental confusion. For a young person, the body can handle excesses better, but in an older adult whose kidneys work less efficiently, forcing liters and liters of water can be more harmful than helpful. There's also the idea that only water hydrates. In reality, many foods contribute to fluid balance: fruits like watermelon, cantaloupe, or orange, vegetables like cucumber or lettuce, light soups and broths. Counting only glasses of water without considering these foods leads to wrong conclusions about the body's true hydration. The difference between a young person and an older adult is clear. A 30-year-old can drink a big glass of water at midnight and sleep without problems because their kidneys still concentrate urine well and their bladder has greater capacity. But a 70-year-old won't have the same response. Their body will produce urine more easily and their bladder will fill much sooner, forcing them to get up. That's why it's not enough to talk about quantity. The most important thing is timing. Water myths have created more confusion than clarity. Worst of all, they make many older people live with the idea that they're failing in self-care if they don't drink enough. The reality is different. Good hydration doesn't mean following a rigid rule, but listening to the body, spreading fluids better throughout the day, and understanding how physiology changes with age. The right time to hydrate. Now that we know the key is not just how much we drink, but when we do it, it's time to talk timing. The human body has a natural rhythm we must learn to respect, especially in older age. The first recommendation from specialists is clear: hydrate more in the morning and afternoon, and less at night. Upon waking, after hours of fasting, the body needs water. Drinking a glass on an empty stomach helps activate the kidneys, metabolism, and digestive system. Throughout the day, steady intake keeps the body in balance, avoiding both dehydration and nighttime overload. After dinner is when we must be most careful. Many people take a big glass of water right before bed because they think it prevents nighttime dehydration. But that habit is one of the main reasons they end up getting up multiple times. The recommendation is simple. Drink enough liquid during dinner, but avoid flooding your stomach with water in the last hour before sleep. A practical example can help. Imagine the routine of Anna, 76 years old. Before, her habit was to drink little water in the morning and afternoon and make up for it at night with 2 big glasses after dinner. That made her get up as many as 4 times every early morning. After visiting her doctor, she changed. Now she has a glass upon waking, another mid-morning, one with lunch, another in the afternoon, and a small one with dinner. After that, just small sips if her mouth is dry, but never a full glass before bed. The result was immediate. She went from 4 nighttime awakenings to only 1. These kinds of adjustments show that the timing of hydration is as important as the amount. The ideal is to listen to your body and plan fluids so the kidneys work while we're awake and can rest while we sleep. That way, we not only avoid unnecessary interruptions, we also help sleep be deeper and more restorative. Which drinks worsen nocturia? So far, we've talked about the importance of drinking water at the right time, but not everything we drink is the same. Some liquids, though seemingly harmless, directly affect the bladder and kidneys, increasing urine production and worsening nocturia. The first is coffee. Caffeine is a natural stimulant that not only keeps us awake, it also acts as a mild diuretic. That means it pushes the kidneys to produce more urine. Having a cup of coffee in the afternoon or at night is almost a guarantee you'll have to get up more than once in the early morning. Tea may seem gentler, but many types of tea also contain caffeine. In addition, some dark teas irritate the bladder and create the sensation of urgency even when the bladder isn't completely full. Alcohol is another big enemy of deep sleep. It has a double effect. On the one hand, it dehydrates and forces the body to eliminate more water through urine. And on the other, it alters sleep cycles, meaning that even if you don't get up as often, the rest is lower quality. A glass of wine at dinner or a beer at night may seem small, but in older adults, the effects are much stronger than in young people. Sugary drinks are problematic too. Sodas and industrial juices contain sugars and additives that irritate the bladder and speed up the urge to urinate. Plus, excess sugar can affect glucose control in people with diabetes, which in turn increases urine production. A case that illustrates this well is Teresa, a 70-year-old woman who used to drink a cup of black tea before bed because it relaxed her. She thought it was a healthy routine until she noticed that each night she got up 3 or 4 times. Her doctor suggested switching that drink for a gentle, caffeine-free infusion like chamomile. The change was striking. From waking several times, she went to getting up only once, and on some nights, she even slept through. This example shows that it's not just how much water we drink, but also what kinds of liquids we include in our nighttime routine. Choosing drinks that are kinder to the bladder can be the difference between interrupted sleep and a truly restful night. The importance of water temperature. A detail almost never mentioned, but one that greatly influences sleep quality, is the temperature of the water we drink, especially in the hours close to bedtime. It's not the same to drink a glass of ice-cold water as one at room temperature or warm. Very cold water can cause a slight constriction of blood vessels and stimulate the digestive system. Far from relaxing the body, this activates it. Some people even notice that drinking ice-cold water makes their stomach more restless or their bladder more active. At night, when we're seeking calm and rest, this isn't the best option. Warm or room temperature water, by contrast, is much friendlier to the digestive and urinary systems. When it enters the body, it doesn't cause jolts. It's absorbed more evenly and doesn't stimulate the urge to urinate as much. Plus, drinking slightly warm liquids helps relax the body and prepares it better for sleep. Very hot water isn't ideal either. While it can feel nice in winter, a temperature that's too high can irritate the stomach lining and cause discomfort. The general recommendation is simple. In the hours before sleep, if you're thirsty, choose water at room temperature or slightly warm. That simple choice can make a big difference in how often your bladder forces you to get up. In short, it's not only the amount of water nor the time we drink it. Temperature also influences how the body processes it. A change as small as choosing warm water instead of ice cold can help you go from interrupted nights to more stable, restorative rest. The connection between hydration and food. When we think about hydrating, the first thing that comes to mind is a glass of water. But the truth is that a large part of the fluids our body needs can come from the foods we eat every day. This is especially useful in older adults because it lets you maintain good hydration without having to drink large amounts of water at the wrong times. Fruits and vegetables are the best allies. Cucumber, for example, contains more than 90% water. The same is true of lettuce, watermelon, cantaloupe, or orange. By eating these foods, the body receives water more slowly and evenly, which prevents a sudden overload of the bladder. In other words, they hydrate without forcing you to get up multiple times at night. Light soups and broths also play an important role. A dinner that includes a vegetable soup not only provides nutrients, it also helps keep fluid levels in balance. The advantage is that, being combined with fiber and other components, those liquids aren't eliminated as quickly as a glass of water taken right before sleep. Even some dairy, like plain yogurt, contains a good amount of water. When eaten as part of a light dinner, they provide hydration and also improve digestion, which translates into more restorative rest. The key is understanding that it's not only how much we drink, but also what we eat. Including water-rich foods throughout the day lets us distribute hydration better, reducing the need to load the bladder at night. Let's think of a practical example. Martha, 74 years old, used to drink 2 big glasses of water after dinner because she thought it made up for what she hadn't had in the day. This made her get up several times in the early morning. Her doctor recommended increasing fruit intake during the morning and afternoon and adding a light soup at dinner. The result was clear. She no longer needed so much water in the last hours of the day, and her nighttime awakenings were reduced almost completely. The lesson is simple. Choosing the right foods can be as important as deciding how much water to drink. That way we achieve a natural balance that protects health and, at the same time, favors deep sleep. Position and bedtime routines. Beyond what we drink and eat, there's another aspect that greatly influences how often we get up at night, our pre-sleep routines, and even the posture we rest in. The first tip is obvious but fundamental. Empty the bladder right before bed. Many times we think we don't need to urinate, but if we try, we can release part of the accumulated liquid. This simple habit can reduce 1 or 2 nighttime awakenings. Another important detail is to avoid drinking large amounts in the last hour of the day. If your mouth feels dry, small sips are enough, not full glasses. It's also best to have dinner with enough time before going to bed, since active digestion can increase fluid production in the body. Posture plays a curious role too. Sleeping on your back can create more pressure on the bladder in some people, while sleeping on your side relieves that sensation. There's no perfect posture for everyone, but experimenting with different positions can help you find the one that interrupts rest the least. A proper environment is essential. Keep the room cool and dark with a clear path to the bathroom. Placing a soft light along the way also reduces the risk of falls if you do need to get up. Louis' story, 80 years old, is a good example. He used to get up as many as 5 times a night. After a medical checkup that ruled out serious problems, he changed his routine. He ate dinner earlier, avoided liquids in the last hour, and made sure to go to the bathroom right before sleep. He also started sleeping on his side instead of on his back. In a few weeks, he went from 5 interruptions to only 2, which noticeably improved his daytime energy. These small changes show that you don't always need medications or complicated solutions. Sometimes it's enough to tweak simple routines and listen to your own body to recover a calmer, safer rest. When getting up at night is a medical warning. So far, we've seen that getting up once or twice at night can be explained by habits, age, or normal kidney function. However, there are times when that need to urinate becomes a warning sign we shouldn't ignore. The first concerning symptom is pain or burning when urinating. If every time you go to the bathroom at night you feel stinging or discomfort, that's not normal. This can indicate a urinary infection, very common in older people, especially women. Ignoring these symptoms can allow the infection to reach the kidneys and cause more serious complications. Another sign that deserves attention is excessive urinary frequency. If you go from getting up once or twice to 4, 5, or even more, and this happens suddenly, don't chalk it up only to age. It may signal problems in the prostate, the bladder, or a loss of blood sugar control. The presence of blood in the urine is another reason to see a doctor immediately. Although in some cases it's a small infection or a tiny stone, it can also indicate more serious diseases, such as tumors in the bladder or kidneys. No amount of blood in the urine should be ignored. Pay attention as well to difficulty starting urination or the sensation that the bladder never empties completely. In men, these symptoms are often related to prostate enlargement, while in women, they may be tied to pelvic floor problems. In both cases, early diagnosis can make the difference between a simple treatment and bigger complications. How do you tell normal from abnormal? It's simple. If nighttime awakenings are stable and aren't accompanied by pain, burning, or sudden changes, they're probably linked to habits and natural aging. But if you notice a sudden worsening or additional symptoms, don't let it pass. A urologist can order simple tests like a urine analysis or an ultrasound to rule out serious problems and guide treatment. Many people wait too long to ask for help because they think it's just age, and when they finally consult, the problem is already advanced. The recommendation is clear. If you get up more than 3 times every night consistently, if you have pain, burning, blood, or a constant sense of urgency, seek a specialist's opinion. Taking care of urinary health not only improves rest, it can also prevent higher-risk diseases. Ideal hydration. Routine by age. One of the most frequent questions is, what's the best way to spread water throughout the day to sleep better? The answer isn't identical for everyone, but we can set general guidelines by age and health status. For those over 60 years old, the ideal is to start the day with a glass of water on an empty stomach. Mid-morning, add another glass and have a moderate portion of liquid with lunch. In the afternoon, drink 1 or 2 glasses spread out before dinner. From dinner onward, reduce intake to small sips to avoid nighttime overload. For those over 70 years old, distribution should be even more careful. The kidneys no longer concentrate urine as well, so it's best to prioritize hydration before mid-afternoon. 1 glass upon waking, 1 at breakfast, 1 mid-morning, and 1 with lunch is enough to cover much of the need. In the afternoon, you can add half a glass, and at dinner, only what's necessary to accompany the meal. After that hour, the recommendation is to stick to small sips if thirst appears. For those over 80 years old, the strategy is to drink in small amounts regularly during the day, without loading up on big volumes. At that stage, the body processes more slowly, and forcing large amounts of water can upset the body's salt balance. It's best to divide intake into frequent sips, with special emphasis in the morning and at midday. In all cases, water-rich foods like fruits and vegetables naturally complement hydration. You don't need to rely only on water in a glass, and you avoid overloading the bladder. There are special precautions for people with kidney or heart problems. In these cases, the amount of fluids should be set by a doctor, since both excess and lack of water can be dangerous. For example, a patient with heart failure may need to restrict fluid intake to avoid overloading the heart. The key is finding a balance. Drink enough during the day to keep the body hydrated, but reduce the amount in the hours before rest. That way, the kidneys do most of their work while we're awake and allow for more continuous sleep at night. We've traveled an important path together. We started by understanding what nocturia is and why so many people, especially after 60 years of age, get up several times at night to go to the bathroom. We discovered it's not an inevitable sentence of age, but a problem that can be eased with simple adjustments to our habits. We talked about how interrupting sleep affects memory, energy, mood, and even the body's defenses. We saw that the kidneys and bladder change over time, but that we can help them if we learn to hydrate more intelligently. We debunked myths like the famous 8 glasses rule, understanding that quantity isn't the most important thing, but rather the timing of when we drink. We also reviewed the drinks that worsen nocturia, coffee, tea, alcohol, and sugary ones, and learned that even the temperature of water can influence our rest. We discovered that water-rich foods like fruits and vegetables help maintain balanced hydration without overloading the bladder. And we saw how simple routines, like emptying the bladder before bed or choosing a better sleeping position, make a difference. We also made it clear that not everything can be solved at home. When warning signs appear, pain, burning, blood in the urine, or sudden changes in frequency, the right thing is to consult a urologist. We must never normalize what may actually be a health problem. Finally, we shared hydration plans, tailored to each stage of life, remembering that 60 isn't the same as 80 and that each age deserves care to match. The main message is hopeful. Sleeping better is possible. You don't need to give up hydration or resign yourself to interrupted nights. With small changes in how we drink water and organize our routines, we can regain deep restorative rest. And I want to close with this idea. Sleeping without interruptions isn't a luxury. It's a right of your body. Your rest is as important as your diet or your physical activity. Protecting it is protecting your health and your quality of life. Before you go, I'd love to read you. How many times do you usually get up at night, and from which country are you watching us? Leave it in the comments, share this video with someone who needs it, and subscribe so you don't miss more health and wellness tips. Your experience can inspire others, and together we can learn to live this stage with more calm and energy.